I'm a singer-songwriter. I've been writing songs for more than 20 years now, and I play with my band Simon and the Band Apart. 2 or 3 months ago I decided to start this thing called A Song a Week. I launched a blog, and every week I have to post a new song on the blog. About 5 years ago I tried a similar thing, but I just did that for 3 months. What would often happen, it would be like 11:30 on the night of the deadline, so the end of the week was half an hour away, and I still wouldn't have a song, so I would just force myself to write whatever was there without thinking too hard, and it was surprising how many of those ended up being really good songs. When I write a song, there's always this voice tearing whatever I do to pieces and saying, come on, you can do better, that's not good enough, and nothing's ever perfect. When you let that stop you, you get writer's block. And what I've learned through this process of forcing myself to write to a deadline is that it's possible to force yourself to ignore that voice and just finish something. Very often you discover once it's finished and you played it to someone that it's actually a really good song, and that voice is not to be trusted. Start messing around on the guitar. For example, this little thing, quite a nice sort of African feel maybe. That's the beginning. You find something that works on the guitar, nice little chord progression, nice picking pattern. The next step is search for a melody that works over those chords. Most important thing in that process is to make sure you're not recycling a melody that's in some famous song that you heard before somewhere. It's really hard actually to come up with something completely original, and that's the real challenge. So you find the melody, and once you've got the melody, you have to get words, and that's often actually the hardest part. When you actually want to say something, suddenly you're confronted with, this is who I really am, and this is what I really think, as opposed to just the melody, which is just emotion. And so there are basically 2 ways that I approach writing lyrics, and the one is, the one I generally prefer is where I just start singing nonsense over the melody. You listen to the gibberish, or you can play it back once you've recorded it, and you start picking out actual words that sound like the words that are in the gibberish, and through that process slowly you can actually start to piece together bits of lyric that sound good, that might not actually make logical sense. It's rather you want them to have an emotional impact, so powerful imagery that might just be completely abstract and weird, but that works with that melody to create something that stirs an emotion in the listener. It's hard to hear myself above the buzz of all the things that this mind does, try to catch the wind of love. The other way of writing lyrics is to have a strong idea before you actually set out to write the lyrics, so the song has a direction already. Maybe you're out walking somewhere and you think, wow, now that'd be a great thing to write a song about. I would take that and I'd say, okay, well maybe there's a catchy way to say that concept, that can be the chorus, and then I'd brainstorm whatever ideas I have around that idea. Maybe experiences I've had, people I've seen that have been in this situation, whatever, and you can turn those into verses of the song. And in that kind of song, every verse works to build on the idea, and it's actually, it's a specific message almost that you're putting across. What I have here is this program called Audacity. As you can see, there are all these tracks. Each one of these tracks is a little idea that I had while I was in the brainstorming process of trying to come up with melodies for the chords I found. And as soon as I catch a melody, I record it. And if you listen to this first track, so that's a melody with the kind of gibberish I was talking about just now. That's exactly what happens. I sing that gibberish, and then I use that as almost like a mold that I put words in. They must try and sound as much like that as they can, with that feeling, that emotion. So that's essentially the process that I go through in coming up with lyrics to a melody. And that's a song called, which I finished, which is called Time Whizzes Away, which I'll be recording on Wednesday night.
thoughts and all of our wisdom, just to give us comfort as we stumble through the dark